Thank you.
Everybody ready? Okay. Coach.
Yeah, good to win. You know, thought our guys played well, especially in the second half. You know, we didn't do a real good job offensively of being patient in the first half. You know, I think you know, we've been a kind of a big play offense up until this point. And sometimes when, you know, you're not getting those big plays because of the scheme and what they're doing a little bit, you know, you try to force some things. I thought Shane forced a couple of throws. First half, threw a couple of picks, and then, you know, I thought once our offensive line settled in and Shane settled in, you know, we played a lot better in the second half. We had a couple of big plays and wore them down a little bit running the ball. And, you know, we talked to our guys all week. You know, we thought it was going to have to be kind of an ugly win. You know, they were just going to force us to run it. And, you know, I thought we did a pretty good job, particularly in the second half of doing that. And then, you know, drew the safeties up and made a couple of plays over the top. So, you know, it was a good win. You know, I think, you know, Texas State, boy, they're playing hard. I mean, Jake's got those guys really playing hard. You know, I'm impressed with their scheme, what they're doing. You know, and thought we played, you know, well enough to, you know, to be able to win the game. So I was encouraged by that.
What made you want to go to TJ?
Well, it's one of those things. You know, he just practiced at such a high level. You know, he just does everything right. And you know, usually as a football player, the guys that do things right kind of get rewarded for it. And you know, he's been on the scout team practicing at such a high level. You know, I just last week, you know, thought about trying to play him some last week, but we hadn't really prepared, you know, during the week to do it. So we, you know, put him over there, took him off the scout team this week, and you know, we featured him on some special teams. He got a lot of reps on teams and got some carries. And you know, when he got in there, you know, really produced. I mean, it's pretty amazing. I think he averaged 20 yards a carry on 8 carries. And so, not surprised, really, honestly. You know, he's a good football player, and you know, like I said, does things the right way.
Do you think maybe he forced your hand a little bit to get some playing time going forward in bigger games?
Well, I think so. I mean, it's like anything else. I mean, we're going to play the guys that play well. You know what I mean? And I think it's a great lesson for, you know, for our players and football players in general, people everywhere, I guess. You know, for me and everybody, just the fact that, you know, I think coming out of fall camp, we thought, well, we'll redshirt him and let him, you know, get bigger and stronger and faster. And he just kept improving and getting better when he was on the scout team. And you know, you just had a feeling that if he got some carries in a game, that you know, he was going to do a good job. And thought he did tonight, and you know, we'll kind of see where it goes from there. You know, I thought all the backs ran hard. I mean, Xavier, you know, had another good game. You know, ran for over 100 yards as well, and so, you know, and I thought Kamen ran hard, particularly at the end of the game. And so I'm encouraged by those guys. You know, we had 3 turnovers tonight. We can't afford to turn the ball over. I mean, that's the one thing we got to get fixed. And you know, we're still having extra point woes. I mean, we're the worst team in college football kicking extra points. I mean, we've got to be like maybe in history of college football. So we just got to get that fixed, you know. Otherwise, it's going to cost us a ball game. And so we're going to work really hard this week to get those things cleaned up and addressed. And you know, usually you don't win a game when you lose a turnover battle. And we were fortunate tonight that we were able to win the game, even though we turned it over 3 times.
With that kicking problem, do you feel like you're confident at all to be able to send a kicker out there in any situation?
Well, you know, the problem we've had is we had some snaps that were bad early. You know, there's a lot of things that go into that. You know, Kevin Robletto's been injured, you know, so he hasn't really kicked healthy in a couple of weeks. So we've had some other guys that we're pretty confident in, but you know, we had snaps that were a problem early. Then, you know, then we played, you know, Arkansas State, and they started jumping over our linemen. We try to keep our guys really low, and that's what's happened. That's flashing in front of our kicker, and it's, you know, it's distracting because you got a guy running free right at you. And so we've got to, you know, we just got to get all that stuff cleaned up. You know, our snaps are better. You know, we haven't had issues with our snaps here in the last 2 ball games. You know, and now we've got to make the things, and part of it is we've got to do a better job up front of not letting them jump over us on the front line. That's kind of what's happening. That's what happened when we got the one blocked, and the guy jumped again and flashed right in front of Kevin's face, and he, you know, missed the kick. So, or in front of Hogan's face rather, missed the kick. So we got to do a better job of that.
What have you seen from Shane through the first 3 games, and what does he need to improve?
Well, I think this was good for him tonight. To have an ugly ball game. You know what I mean? And sometimes, your job as a quarterback is to figure out how to win the game. And I think I'm the world's worst about it. I mean, I want to throw for 500 yards every game. You know what I'm saying? I mean, to me, 500 yards is a good game passing. And, and that's not always the best, the truth. The quarterback's first job is to help his football team win. And I think that, we're going to see drop 8. I mean, it's kind of the new thing. It's like the air raid was about 15 years ago. Everybody's starting to incorporate part of it. And so, these guys major in it, and they do it well. Iowa State did it a couple of years ago against Oklahoma and beat those guys, and now it's kind of been the rage that everybody started doing. And so when they do that, you got to run the ball effectively. You have to string together, a 15-play drive instead of scoring on a 60-yard touchdown pass. And you got to be a team that's well enough equipped to do that. You got to be disciplined enough not to have a holding penalty or have a false start, or your backs have to be disciplined to run downhill and not have any negative plays on first or second down. And you're going to have to go for it some on fourth down and short. I mean, it just changes the way you call the game. And so, I think early in the game, everybody was impatient. I certainly was. I thought Rhett actually did a good job calling the game, but Shane forced a couple of throws, and it was a good lesson for us, and we'll learn from it. And and he'll play better next time he sees it.
Playing a team that came into tonight with 2 losses, how worried were you about guys looking ahead to TCU?
Worried. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was really worried on Sunday and Monday, and then we went out Tuesday and had the best practice we've had probably of the year, and then followed it up with even better practice on Wednesday. And so, I was at that point. I was felt a lot better. Just felt like our guys were handling it the way they were supposed to. I didn't get any, sense that we were being silly or any of that kind of stuff. And what happens sometimes if you're not accustomed to winning, then all of a sudden you think you have the answers, you think you have it figured out, or you think we can relax and all that. And I didn't see any hint of that whatsoever on Tuesday or Wednesday, and I was really proud of our team, for the way they handled it. Thought they were, real professional in the way that they approached the preparation this week and getting ready for this game. And so, by Friday I was pretty encouraged. I thought we'd play well, and I was a little frustrated at the end of the first half, but I kind of had a sense of the way things might go in the second half, and you could see we were starting to wear them down a little bit. And, I thought our offensive line continues to play better and better. I thought they made a big jump this week. They have a good front. I thought we moved them off the ball well, and I thought our backs ran hard, and so I was encouraged by our offensive line play for sure. And then I thought our defense played lights out.
Patrick, he had a couple really big sacks. I mean, what are you kind of seeing from him right now? Pretty exciting.
Well, just confidence, what I'm saying, just a lot of confidence and playing fast, and that's kind of what he's good at. You know what I mean? He's one of those guys that just plays with kind of a reckless abandon, and I think we found a good spot for him. He doesn't have to read a whole lot of things. He just gets to react and be a football player, and that's what he's good at doing. And so I think our guys have done a good job getting him comfortable and getting him taught what to do, and he's going out and performing at a high level.
When it comes to TJ, I mean, I don't have to tell you that he was super productive in high school. Why do you think that, the SMU ended up being the right place for him, and why do you think maybe he didn't sort of gather the sort of attention that maybe his production would make you think he deserved?
That's a good question. I mean, I think, he was one of the better high school backs I've seen, just for that very same reason I talked about earlier. He just does everything the right way. He reads blocks, he finishes, he's, all the stuff that you want guys to do. He gets his shoulders low in the hole. He's got great lift in his legs and knee drive, and he, reads blocks remarkably well. And if you watched him at Southlake, he was very well coached. He would just sit and wait for things to happen and just kind of, be really patient. Not everybody has an ability to do that. Look, the guy trains as hard as anybody. He does everything right. He's, tonight he's going to go home and, and take his vitamins and go to bed early and wake up early tomorrow and probably have a workout before his workout tomorrow. He's just one of those kind of kids. It's important to him, and he's a good athlete. And I thought he had a heck of a ball game, and you know, I think he's just getting started.
I mean, you guys put him on one of your billboards on the Dallas campaign. I mean, was it much of a choice or much of a thought process that, hey, you know, we don't even know if this guy's going to play this year, but...
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing for him, you know, look, South Lake Carroll has a great tradition of high school football, and they've won a ton of ball games. And, you know, to be able to sign a player of TJ's stature from a program like that was important to our program. You know, it just gives us credibility. And so, you know, that's one of the reasons why we stuck him on the billboard. And, you know, look, I think we all knew, you know, well, at least we all thought he was going to be a good college football player. And, you know, tonight was his first action. He had a good game, and, you know, we'll see where we go from here.
You've coached young quarterbacks and old quarterbacks. What's the luxury of, when you have a transfer, what's the luxury of having that experience? And how quick was he to pick up on your...
Yeah, you know, I think the thing that I forget about it, at least, is, you know, you think of Shane as a veteran, which he is, but, you know, he's not a veteran to us. You know what I mean? I mean, he's played in 3 ball games for us. He didn't go through spring football. You know, I just always, it just seems like he did, you know, just the way he came in and picked things up. And so, you know, he's still learning, you know what I mean? He's still adjusting and learning and figuring things out. And it's a different, you know, we're a different football team than Texas was. And you know, we do things different and you know, and coach them different, have a different scheme. And our players are different. And all that takes time to get used to. And the competition's different. Some of the things that he sees is different. And so, you know, he's still learning. He's still adjusting. You know, he played at such a high level, I thought, last week. And probably didn't play as good today. You know, I think he took a little bit of a step back tonight. But I think it was a great lesson for him, you know, to learn just how to, you know, how to handle a game like that. And you know, like I said, he's like me. I think he's really competitive. He's really driven. Same thing. I mean, look, if we don't, you know, if you don't score 70 and you don't have 1,000 yards of offense, then it's not a good night. And that's good, but at the same time, you want to, you know, I mean, the thing is to figure out how to win the game. You know, protect the ball, take care of the ball, you know, win ugly. And that's what we talked about. Look, we were going to have to win the game, you know, dirty and ugly and you know, have filthy 4 yards and, you know, just grind it out. And so it's a good lesson for him to how to do that and not to force things. And you know, I think it's a confidence builder for everybody in our program.
Now, even with Shane not having the game that you're used to him having, how important was it for his receivers to kind of step up and make the plays that they made, especially the one from Prochet?
Yeah, that was a big catch for James. I mean, we just needed a little bit of a spark at that time of the game, and James, you know, made a big play. Colin made a big play. Reggie got hot on that one drive, had a couple of big catches in that drive, and you know, we needed to make some big plays because, like I said, we've been you know, a big play football team up until tonight. You know, we made some plays tonight on the ground, but it wasn't throwing the ball, and like I said, it probably wasn't as fun to watch maybe as we have been up to this point. But you know, I think we had close to 650 yards, and we moved the ball pretty well, and you know, scored enough points to win the game. So we just got to keep getting better, you know. And sometimes you got to win games like this, and then other times you got to do it a different way.
You played Derek Green last week. What made you turn to Terrence Gibson tonight?
Well, we had a little package that we wanted to run with Terrence some, you know, a little bit of some triple option stuff, you know, with him, and you know, we felt like he's performed pretty well in practice, and thought he would have a chance to perform well in the game. And so, you know, the great thing is now we can feature some guys because the 4-game redshirt thing, you know what I mean? And so, you know, we didn't want to burn a game last week, you know, just because we didn't feel like, you know, it was going to be kind of garbage time. He was going to be handing the ball off. And tonight, we had more of a package that, you know, he could play and be productive and do some things that he's good at doing. And so, you know, and he's a great change of pace guy because, I mean, when he pulls the ball down now, he's pretty electric. And so, you know, it was encouraging to see that. And, you know, the thing is, I mean, everybody's got Will's the backup quarterback right now. And you know, we're trying to, same thing, kind of manage the 4-game thing where we can, you know, take care of our guys and play them the best way that we can play them.